All right, gentlemen, welcome once again to Test Take Up video, starring Moore, this guy right here, and Meakin. Let's get right into it. So for this shape here, we didn't actually cover this shape in class. It's a composite shape, so it's two shapes made up into a different shape. So the idea here was, if we were calculating the area of it, it would be to divide it into parts. So some guys were able to add square corners on this and then subtract those from the total area, but it's not the most efficient way. The most efficient way would just be to look at this as a trapezoid, and you've been given all of your dimensions for this. So we know that our formula for area of a trapezoid is base A plus base B divided by 2. You're looking for an average of the bases, and then times the height. So we have all of that information. It may not be apparent right off the bat, but it's all there. So this would be base A, so 7 units. So area equals 7 plus base B would be a parallel line to this line here, or a congruent line to this line here, which would be this guy down here, 9 units, divided by 2. And then if the height of the whole shape is 8, and we know that this is the remaining shape, and the height of here is 6, then we know that this has to be 2 units. So times our height, which is 2. Now these 2's will end up just canceling each other out, but let's work through this. So 7 plus 9 is 16, divided by 2, area equals times 2, area equals 8, times 2, area equals 16 units squared. So if I know that this is 16 units squared, then I'm just calculating the area of this rectangle, which we know is just base times height. Area equals BH, area equals 6 times 9, area equals 54 units squared, and then you add your two areas up together. So 54 units squared plus 16 units squared is area equals 16 plus 54. Therefore, your area equals 70 units squared for the total shape. Next up, calculate the surface area. This is really straightforward. You're just plugging in a formula. So we're saying SA equals 2 times the base times the depth, plus 2 times the depth times the height, plus 2 times the base times the height. So 2BD plus 2DH plus 2BH. So what you're doing here is you just want to decide which is which. So we're going to say this is the depth. It could be elephant if you want it to be. We're going to say this is the base, because I know that this line is congruent to this line. And I'm going to say 4 here is the height. So then I plug in my variables. So I'm saying 2 times 7, and I'll do it with dots actually, 2 times 7.5 times our depth, which is 10.25, plus 2 times 4 times 10.25. I went back to multiplication symbols, which is fine, plus 2 times my base and my height. So 4 times 7.5. It's really important that you plug in all the information. So first step, list your formula. Second step, plug in the variables. Third step, start solving. Now, order of operations is important here. So we're saying 2 times 7.5 times 10.25 equals 153.75. Then you have to multiply this chunk. You're not adding them up yet. You have to multiply the chunks. So 2 times 4 times 10.25 equals plus 82, and then plus 2 times 4 times 7.5. 2 times 4 times 7.5 equals 60. So now I add those 3 up. 60 plus 82 plus 153.75 equals 295.75 units squared. Right? We're not centimeters, we're working in units here. Next up, again, this is a unique shape. We didn't study this in class. We didn't go over this guy in class. This was something that it was an application type question. So taking some understanding and applying it to solve. So for this one, it's a trapezoidal prism. The idea here was to look at it like any rectangular prism, and we knew that with rectangular prisms, we calculated the volume by saying the area of one of the faces, or the area of the face, times either the depth or the height. So it's this times that. If we had stacked it this way, that is a horrible shape. There we go. So if we're saying the area of this face times the height, just repeat it over and over and over again. So with this, we want to find the area of this trapezoid and times it by the depth that way. So again, same formula applies for your area of trapezoid. Average of the bases times the height. So we're saying 4u plus 7u divided by 2 times 5. We can take the u's out. That's just going to confuse things. Okay, so we're saying 4 plus 7 is 11 divided by 2 times 5. So 5.5 times 5. 5.5 times 5 equals 27.5. And then we're just timesing it by 9, timesing the depth. So times 9 equals 247. So volume equals 247.5 units cubed. Important to go units cubed on that one, right? You're calculating volume. All right, that's the end of part A.